Oh man, good morning. It's my final live stream before I get baptized, before I get dipped this Shabbat morning, and before I am Akazaj Yasharala officially Akazaz. I would like to start this one off with the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew first, and then in this land's tongue. Abanawa Shabashamayim Kadash Haya Shamka Ahaya Malak Wathka Taba'a Ratazawanka Haya Isha Bataza Kawahaya Bashamayam Nathan Lanawa Lakam Ka Yawam Wasalagnawa Ka'awa Wathnawa Kasalagnawa Ka'awa Wathyanawa Wala'a Tabayanawa Banasayawan Abba Hawashanawa Manri Kaya Laka Hamalakwa Waha Allah Wahatapa Ara Lal Walam Yam Aman. Our Father, which in heaven, holy be your name. I am. Your kingdom come. Your will be done in earth as it be in heaven. Give to us bread all day. And forgive us our sins, our debts, as we forgive those, our debtors. And lead us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For to you be the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Amen. This final broadcast before I get baptized in just a few hours is part 2 of holidays versus holy days. What we are about to do now, we broke down all the holidays, while we're in the midst of this holiday season. I thought it'd be beneficial to inform you on the origins of the holidays, probably about a month back. Now it is time to go into holy days and the Sabbath so that we can understand the importance of the Most High's time, the importance of the Most High's calendar, and how many holy days he set apart for us to love him, worship him, commemorate his events, and to understand the importance of his Sabbaths and to understand the importance of his time. What we're going to do now is break down a week to the Most High. What we're about to find out right now is the names of the days of the week according to the Most High. Let's go into Genesis 1 and 5. Pardon me if I seem so excited. We're about to get baptized. Quante Tyrone Marshall Sr. is about to get left in the water. Ak Azaz Yasharala is about to live from this day forward. Shabbat Shalom. That means happy Sabbath. This is the Sabbath that is my birthday, my born day. All right. Genesis 1 and 5. It reads, and the Lord called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. All right, the first day. Now let's go down to 1 and 8. And the Lord called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. Okay, the second day. According to the Most High, that's what that is, the second day. Day 2 is the second day. Okay, the first day is the first day. All right, let's go down to 13. In Genesis 1, we in 13. And the evening and the morning were the third day. Okay, no name. Just the third day. All right. Let's go down a few more verses to 19. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. One thing I would like to point out right now is that he says the evening and the morning. So according to the Most High God, the evening and then the morning is a day. Okay. So the Most High's day start in the evening. When the sun is done setting, that's the beginning of a day to the Most High. And as the sun comes up and that sun sets, that's a complete day. All right. We on the fourth day. We're going down to 23. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. Okay. Now to the last verse of this chapter. 31. And the Most High saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day, right? No names. A week to the Most High is the first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day. You know? All right. Now, let's go to chapter 2. And we're about to learn about the seventh day. All right. Chapter 2 in Genesis. I'm going to start at 1 and I'm going to read through 3. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. Everything was finished. Chapter 1 is the chapter of creation. The very first chapter in this book is about creation. Okay. This is the creation of the first week, the creation of time right here. Now we in 2. And he ended at the sixth day. That's when he ended creation. That's why chapter 1 ends at the sixth day. Now, in chapter 2, he introduces the seventh day. You see how he separated the seventh day? Now, let's look into the seventh day. Let me read 1 again. 2 and 1 again. Thus, the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. 2. And on the seventh day, the Lord ended his work, which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. 3. And the Most High blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all the work which he had created and made. See how much he said about the seventh day? See how he separated it? He rested in it and he sanctified it. He made the seventh day special. All right. We go into our calendar. We look at our calendar. Our calendar starts at Sunday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Our seventh day is Saturday. Let's read a little more about the seventh day. Let's go into Exodus 20. And we're going to read 8 through 11. Exodus 20. We there? Let me get to 8. Exodus 20. I'm going to read 8 through 11. And we're about to read about the seventh day. Okay? Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. The Sabbath day. What is the Sabbath day? Let's find out. 9. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath. He gave the seventh day a name, the Sabbath. No other days. He didn't call it Saturday. He called it the Sabbath. The seventh day is the Sabbath. The other days are day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. The first day, the second day, the third day, the fourth day, the fifth day, the sixth day. The seventh day is the Sabbath. All right, let me finish reading. We had 10. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt do no work. Same thing he just said in Genesis 2, right? Thou shalt do no work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. 11. For in 6 days the Most High made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. The seventh day is the Sabbath. The seventh day is the Lord's day. The seventh day is the only day with a name. That's how our weeks go. Okay. Now, let me go to Ezekiel 20 and 20, just to prove that. We're going to go to Ezekiel 20 and 20. Let me locate our great prophet Ezekiel. There we are. We in Ezekiel. I'm going to get to 20 and 20 right quick. All right, we're in 20. Where's 20? There we go. 20 and 20. And hallow my Sabbaths, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that ye may know that I am the Lord your God. Okay? That's the importance of the Sabbaths. They are a sign. From the very beginning of creation, the seventh day is a sign to us. The seventh day is a sign between the Most High God and us. This is how we keep on track with the Most High God's time. Okay? Let me read that again. And hallow my Sabbaths. You're supposed to commemorate your Sabbaths. You're supposed to hallow them, keep them holy, separate them from the rest of this week. Okay? They're the Sabbath, the day of the Most High God. And hallow my Sabbaths, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that ye may know that I am the Lord your God. That's how we know we serving the Most High God, when we hallow his Sabbaths. Okay? Not to mention in Exodus 20, that's our fourth commandment. Remember the Sabbath day. He said remember for a reason. Today we don't. The world doesn't. The world goes to church on Sunday, which is Sunday. You know, that's Babylonian sun god worship day. You know, and we were taught to go to church on Sunday because that is the order of the land that we live in. This is not our land. This is not our language. This is not our system. Sunday is their Sabbath, you know, because somebody came up with the idea, the notion that you can make any day the Sabbath, you know. Our Christ just told us, our Lord just told us, the Sabbath is the seventh day. Okay, open your calendar. Look at your calendar. Saturday is your seventh day. Saturday, the Sabbath. And our days don't have names, all right? Now, let me explain where the origin of the names of these weeks come from. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, the names of our weeks are named after Roman gods, okay? These are the days where the Romans chose to commemorate their gods, each of them, okay? I'll give you an example. Sunday, Sunna, Sunna, and you can take your time and look these up. They'll pop straight up on your Google. Sunna is a goddess and a personification of the sun. Sunna, the goddess personification of the sun, according to the Romans, aka Sol, S-O-L. All right. Monday, Moon Day, Mani. This is the personification of the moon. This is Sol's brother, S-O-L. Mani. That's the moon god. All right. M-A-N-I. Yeah, Moon Day, Monday. Tuesday. Well, that God's name is Tu, T-I-W. All right. This is the one-handed Roman war god. All right. He is the personification of Mars, T-I-W. Type that in your Google. Validate it. Wednesday, Woden, aka Odin, O-D-I-N. All right. This is the god of magic, wisdom, victory, and death. All right. He is likened to Mercury. Yeah, our planets, those are fallen gods, because the Most High only created the sun, the moon, the earth, and the stars, all in his creation. We don't see planets. Get that? Here are our planets, our fallen angels, our fallen gods, desiring to be worshipped. All right. Thursday, Thor Day. Thor. You know Thor from Marvel Comics or DC Comics, wherever he's from. The man with the hammer, that be watching the earth from the clouds. Yeah, that's a god for real. Thursday is his day. Thor Day. He's the god of thunder, strength, protection, and he carries a hammer. He's the king of the gods. His planet, he is Jupiter. All right, Friday. Frigg, Frigg, or Freya, Freya. This is the goddess of love, beauty, fertility. This is the wife of Odin, the goddess of fertility. That is another variation of the great Semiramis, Ishtar, Ashtoreth, She's the wife of Odin. Her planet is Venus. That's her planet. That's her. Freya. Friday. Saturday. Well, that's Saturn. Saturn's day. Okay? That's the day we revere Saturn versus Shabbat, the Sabbath, the seventh day. So we just went down the whole week and we found out what the origin of the names of our weeks are that we didn't know, that we so loosely say. And we accept and we cleave to, The Monday is indeed the second day of the week. Sunday is indeed the first day of the week. Tuesday, the third day. According to our book, no names until you get to Shabbat, to the Sabbath. All right. Just wanted to go through that. Now we can get into the introduction of what the Most High God has laid out for us according to his schedule. Okay. Now, before we go there, before we go into his holy days, another thing I would like to do is go into his calendar of months, right? Because we know, according to, once again, the Romans, the same who manipulated the days of the week, they gave us months as well. I won't go through the origin of the names, but what you can simply do is type in the origin of the names of the months. And it'll bring up, these pagan worship names. All right. But we got January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December, right? January, the beginning of the month. It starts in the dead of the winter, right? Well, according to the Most High God, Nisan, which is the first Abib as well. Nisan, aka Abib. This is our first month. This is the name of our first month. It starts actually between March and April. Somewhere in there, March and April. When we pay attention to the weather in March and April, this is when things first begin to blossom. This is when the earth first starts to warm up. This is kind of like the weather was in the beginning, the Garden of Eden, the trees and the fruits and all that stuff was blossoming, Yeah, that was Nisan, aka Abib, the first month. Yep. Our second month is called Zif, Z-I-F, Zif. We can find Zif in 1 Kings 6:1. Just to backtrack where we can find Nisan, 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 you can find that in Esther 3 and 7. You can also find Nisan, the day of the first month, the name of the first month, and First Esdras. That's in our Apocrypha, 5 and 6. First Esdras 5 and 6. All right. I'll list the scriptures, but for the sake of time, I won't go through the scriptures, but I will name them, and we can go through them in our own time, right? All right. Starting back at the first month, Nisan, which begins during blossoming time, you know, during like the end of winter, the beginning of spring, the beginning of time when it begins to warm up. Nisan is found in Esther 3 and 7. Also, First Esdras 5 and 6. All right. Our second month, Zeph, which starts 30 days later. There are 30 days in Nisan. There are 30 days in Zeph. We can find Zeph, our second month, in 1 Kings 6 and 1. 1 Kings 6 and 1. That's Zeph, our second month. Our second month starts between April and May. That's when the second month begins, according to the Most High God. Okay? Our third month, Sivan, which has 31 days. All right? 31 days. And the name Sivan can be found in Esther. Esther 8 and 9. All right? That's our third month. It has 31 days. Every 3 months, the third month, the 6th month, the 9th month, and the 12th month, they have 31 days. The rest of the Most High's months have 30 days. It's a perfect calendar of 360 days with an addition of a day added each quarter. Okay, it's a perfect circle. January, February through December, one day may be 31 days, then 30 days, then 31 days, then 29 days, then 28 days, then another 30 days. Excuse me. Each day has a different number of days, and that's simply to sidetrack us and keep us thrown off from the Most High's calendar, from the Most High's time, which is perfect time, Every day is a perfect 30 days with the addition every quarter of a day. All right. Now we were on Sivan, which has 31 days, right? The third month, we can find that in Esther 8 and 9. We'll learn about Sivan. The fourth month has no scripture to back its name up, so I didn't list it. Okay. That's between July and June and July. All right. That's the end of spring. After the last day of Sivan, after the last 31st day, that's the end of spring and the beginning of summer, according to the Most High God. All right. The beginning of summer is the fourth month. That is between June and July. That's when it starts to get warm, right? There's our summer. It's 30 days. Our fifth month, that also has no scripture found to back up its name, so I didn't list any name. All right. That's between July and August. Now it's very warm, right? That's our summer. That is also 30 days. That's the fifth month. The sixth month has 31 days again. Okay. After that 31st day, the season changes. That's what that first day is for. That additional day is for, because the season changes. The sixth month is called Elul, according to scripture. This is between August and September. Okay. It has 31 days. Elul. We're in the sixth month. We can find Elul in Nehemiah 6 and 15. Nehemiah 6 and 15. We can also find Elul, the sixth month, in 1 Maccabees 14 and 27. Once again, First Maccabees 14 and 27. And that's the end of our summer. It has 31 days, the end of the 6th month, and our season changes. The 7th month, Ethanim, that has 30 days, and that's the beginning of our fall when it starts to get cold again. All right. Ethanim, that's the 7th month. We can find Ethanim in 1 Kings 8 and 2. 1 Kings 8 and 2. Ethanim has 30 days. We begin in the second half of the year now. The 8th month is called Bull, B-U-L, Bull. You can find Bull in 1 Kings 6 and 38. It has 30 days. 1 Kings 6 and 38. All right. Our 9th month, which is between November and December. That's our 9th month. When the year ends, according to the world, we're in our 9th month. We're in the midst of our 9th month. Okay? That's called Chislev, Chislev. And it's also called Caslu, Casleu. That has 31 days because at the end of it, the season changes from fall to winter. Okay? We can find the name in Maccabees 4 and 52. That's Maccabees 4 and 52. 31 days, and it's the season changer for us. All right? We go into our 5th month between December and January. Okay? So when the year changes, it's actually, according to the world, when the year changes, we're in the month of Tebeth, the Hebrew month Tebeth, Tebeth. It has 30 days. It's the first month of the winter. And we can find it in Esther 2 and 16. So when we say Happy New Year, it's actually still the 10th month, according to the Most High God. You know? Tebeth, Tebeth, the first month of the winter. It has 30 days. Esther 2 and 16 is where we can find it. Now, the 11th month, according to the Most High's time, is Sabbaths, S-E-B-A-T, Sabbaths. That's between January and February. Sabbaths. It has 30 days, and we can find it in Zechariah 1 and 7. Okay? Zechariah 1 and 7. We can also find it in Maccabees, the book of Maccabees, 16 and 14. All right? Maccabees 16 and 14. It has 30 days, and it's the 11th month. Sabbath, S-E-B-A-T. Our 12th month, the end of our year. Our year ends between February and March. Okay? Adar. That's the name of our 12th month. Okay? Adar. We can find that in Esther 3 and 13. We can also read about Adar in Esther 8 and 12. That's the final month. That's our last month. And then we go back into the spring. It has 31 days. And then we begin back over at Nisan, our first month. We can also find Adar, A-D-A-R, in 2 Maccabees 15 and 36. All right? That's the 12th month, Adar. Which is between February and March. Then we start back over at the top, Nisan. That's the end of the winter and the beginning of spring, between March and April again. And we have a full, even calendar. It doesn't variate. It doesn't fluctuate. It doesn't It's even. And our Sabbaths are on track according to this 364-day calendar. We got 364 days in a year, according to the Most High God, according to the Hebrew months, the Hebrew calendar. All right. Now that we have that, the names of the months and uh, the days and how many days are in each month and when they are lined up to, you know, if that was a lot of information, then what you can do is pause, rewind, and pause step by step. You can write this down and get an understanding of your role, you know. But we just went through the Hebrew months, and we lined them up on when they begin and end, and we went through how many days each month had, you know. Now what we gonna do now is go into how a year is 364 days. We're going to need our additional books to do this. We're going to need Enoch, and we're also going to need Jubilees. So what I'm about to do now is pull out my book of Enoch. There we go. I got my book of Enoch, and what I'm about to read out of Enoch, I am in 72. Okay, and I got to get to 32. There we go. On that day, the night decreases and amounts to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts, and the night is equal to the day, and the year is exactly as to its days, 364. The year is exactly as to its days, 364. 364 days in a year. Okay? Now, let me get over to 75 and 2 in the book of Enoch. All right. 75 and 2. And 75. There we go. All right. We're in 75 and 2. And it says, and owing to them, men go wrong therein. For those luminaries truly render on the world stations. One in the first portal, one in the third portal of the heaven, one in the fourth portal, and one in the sixth portal. And the exactness of the year is accomplished through its separate 364 stations. So our luminaries, the stars, minister to us, and they stay on track evenly. And they run their course every year. They don't deviate. The Lord's time doesn't deviate. This book of Enoch, what we're reading, beginning at chapter 72, is the course of the luminaries, the sun, the moon, and the stars, and how they worship, how they minister to the earth where we live, that we may be able to keep track of the Most High's time. This takes you into great detail and how the angels guide these stars and tell them what to do. And these stars, these luminaries, are watchers. They don't deviate from their course. They are assigned a course, and they don't deviate from it, because if they did, time would shift, and heaven is perfect. And Christ's creation, the Most High's creation, is perfect. So these stars, they keep perfect order so that we can keep perfect time. And this is what has been going on since the beginning of time. Okay? We can read the book of Enoch for further clarification on that. Once again, beginning at chapter 72. And I just highlighted 75. So if we read 70, 75, those chapters will give us a clear understanding of the luminaries, jobs, and how they minister to us. Now what we're going to do is pull out our book of Jubilees for further edification. And we're going to go to the 6th chapter. And what I'm going to read out of the 6th chapter is verse 23 through 40. And it's going to break it down for us. Let me read. And on the new moon of the first month, Jubilees, by the way, is the book of time. Okay? This breaks down timelines of all the events that happened up until Noah reached that Mount Sinai and went up to talk to the Most High God. That's what this book is about. Jubilees. It breaks it down into a time span. All right. And on the new month, beginning at, I'm on 6, I'm in the book of Jubilees. I'm in the 6th chapter, and I'm beginning at 23. And on the new moon of the first month, and on the new moon of the 4th month, and on the new moon of the 7th month, and on the new moon of the 10th month are the days of remembrance, and the days of the seasons in the 4 divisions of the year. Only the first day of the 7th month was a day of memorial. The 4 days were mentioned the 4 days here mentioned correspond to the 4 intercalary days, which are not reckoned in the reckoning of the year, mentioned in Enoch. They introduced the 4 quarters of the year, and apparently according to the scheme of Enoch and our book, were intended to be added to the 360 days, because 12 times 30 equals 360, which made up the solar year, plus 4 days, which equals 364, right? A day added each quarter. And it's a perfect 360 days with the addition of the day, which designate the seasons changing. These are written and ordained as a testimony forever. And Noah ordained them for himself as feasts for the generations forever, so that they have become thereby a memorial unto him. And on the new moon of the first month, he was bidden to make for himself an ark. And on that day, the earth became dry. And he opened the ark and saw the earth. And on the new moon of the 4th month, the mouths of the depths of the abysses beneath were closed. And on the new moon of the 7th month, all the mouths of the abyss were open, of the earth were open, and the waters began to descend into them. 27. And on the new moon of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains were seen, and Noah was glad. And on this account he ordained them for himself as feasts, for a memorial forever. And thus they are ordained. And they placed them on the heavenly tables. These 4 quarters were placed on the heavenly tables. And the time span according to Noah designate when the abysses were closed, and then when the abysses were opened and it started to flood, and then in another quarter when the top of the mountains were seen, and Noah commemorated them as a memorial, an even year. Ain't that crazy? 30. And all the days of the commandment will be 52 weeks, 52 weeks, right, of days, and these will make the entire year complete. If the year consists of 52 weeks, that's 13 times 4 weeks. Okay, that's 52 weeks. 13 in each quarter. How can it be divided into 12 months of 30 days each, which is the reckoning implied through the book? When you add those 4 days, you got 4 even quarters divided by those 4 days, which separate the even circle. Okay? That's what Noah's book that's what Jubilees just broke down for us. Nah, what I'm about to do is fix my broadcast again so I can get back in the book. All right, back set up. Okay. We just went through all the documentation and all the writings that show us that a year is 364 days. Okay. Now 365 days, as according to the world's calendar. 364 days. All right. Now we got 364 days. The seventh day is the Sabbath. We're about to learn the importance of the Sabbaths and the holy days, according to our book. And our book tells us all about our Sabbaths and our holy days and our feasts that the Most High wants us to keep, which is our holidays, the Most High's holidays, holy days. They're all listed in Leviticus. Then we have 2 additional ones that we got to go somewhere else to get. But Leviticus chapter 23. Okay? I'm about to read through Leviticus chapter 23, and we're going to learn about our holy days. These are the days that the Most High wants us to commemorate. And what he wants us to do as a commemoration, because we worship these days, we commemorate these days in spirit. We keep the law in the spirit of Christ, right? We don't follow it by letter. We don't do sacrifices. We don't kill animals, sacrifice animals, and drain the blood. And, we don't do all that stuff no more. We have a feast. We get together on these days listed in the spirit of Christ, and we have a feast. And we come to a clear understanding about them. And we understand what they commemorate, which is our lineage, our roots, what our people did, according to our book, our history book. We go into our history book, and we pull these days out, and we come to a full understanding about them. And we celebrate the Most High God for this day that he gave us. We eat good. We celebrate. We have fun with our family, and we come to a full understanding of the Most High's calendar, the Most High's Sabbaths, because all of these holy days, they fall on the Sabbath. Now, let's get into reading Leviticus 23. And I'm going to start at the top of 23 in Leviticus, and I'm going to read 1 through 4. This is going to introduce to us our feasts and our Sabbaths that we are to keep. 23, 1 through 4. Thou shalt not raise a false report. I'm sorry, we're in Exodus. I need to be in Leviticus. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus. Salakia. That means, I'm sorry. I apologize. My bad. That's what Salakia means. Salakia means my bad. All right. Leviticus 23, are we there? And this chapter is the chapter where Moses breaks down the Most High's calendar. 23, and I'm going to read 1 through 4. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be a holy convocation. Even these are my feasts. A holy convocation, that's when we get together. A holy convocation. We get together and we commemorate the Most High God. Even these are my feasts. 3. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest and a holy convocation. In holy convocation, we get together on the Sabbath. Like Shabbat service, like the lesson we get every Shabbat. Of the Lord in all your dwellings. 4. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. All right. Now, what we're about to get into is the first one, the Passover. You see how he designated the Sabbaths as a holy convocation? Every Sabbath. That's our worship day. That's our get-together day. That's our church day. That's the Lord's day, the Sabbath. All right. Now, Leviticus 5:23-5. And the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. The 14th day of the first month is the Lord's Passover. Passover is the 14th day of the first month. That's what we just learned, right? Let's read about the original Passover. The original Passover, we can read in Exodus 12. I'm going to read about it. Exodus 12, 1-20. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months, the first month, right? Speak ye unto all the congregations of Israel, saying, In the 10th day they shall take to every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next to his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man, according to his eating, shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats. And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month, right? And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening, the 14th. And they shall take the blood and strike it on the 2 doorposts and on the upper door posts of the houses wherein they shall eat it. 8. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roasted with fire and unleavened bread. They shall eat the flesh in that night. And with bitter herbs they shall eat it. 9. Eat not of it raw nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire, his head with his legs, and with the purtenance thereof. 10. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning. And that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire. 11. And thus shall ye eat it, with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and ye shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover on the 14th day. For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast. On that 14th day, that's what he did in Egypt. He passed through there, and he smote Egypt. And against all the gods of Egypt, I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. 13. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you. And the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. So that blood on their doorposts allowed the Lord to pass the angel of death to pass over that house. And the whole land of Egypt got smote with death. 14. And this day shall be unto you a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast of the Lord throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. Forever. Don't forget it. That's forever. Passover is forever. All right? That's the significance of Passover. And then the Lord followed to tell them to keep themselves clean for 7 days through this sign of unleavened bread. Now check this out. Starting at 15. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the seventh day shall be cut off from the soul. So from the 15th, 7 days, that's our feast of unleavened bread, which we're going to get into next in Leviticus. But we're learning about it right now because it immediately follows Passover. 7 days they eat unleavened bread as a feast. Okay? 16. And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation. In the first day there should be a holy convocation, right? The first day of the feast, there should be a holy convocation. The feast of unleavened bread, there shall be a holy convocation. A get together. And in the seventh day, there shall be a holy convocation. So in the beginning and in the end, there shall be a get together. We should get together to commemorate eating unleavened bread. Okay? No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat. That only may be done of you. So you got to do the bare minimum, what you got to do to eat, of course, but no work shall be done. This week is a commemoration. All right. 17. And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread. For in this self same day I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore ye observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. The Most High wants us to remember forever what he did for our people when he brought us out of the bondage of Egypt, our first slavery. He wants us to remember being delivered because he knew we would end up back in bondage. And this is how we find our way out of bondage. We get on the Most High's time. Okay? 18. In the first month of the 14th day of the month at even, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 1 and 20th day, the 21st day of the month at even. Okay, so from the 15th to the 21st day. The 14th day is Passover. From the 15th to the 21st day, that's the Feast of Unleavened Bread in the first month, the month of Adar. The month of Abib, aka Nisan. Okay. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses, for whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. Ye shall eat nothing leavened in all your habitations. Shall ye eat unleavened bread. In all your habitations shall ye eat unleavened bread. Okay? That's our understanding of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Let's get back over to Leviticus 23. And I'm going to read 6 through 8. Because we just introduced ourselves to unleavened bread, which immediately follows our Passover. We just learned about Passover. And now I'm going to read 6 through 8. And on the 15th, we're in Leviticus 23 and 6 through 8. And on the 15th day of the same month is the Feast of Unleavened Bread unto the Lord. 7 days must ye eat unleavened bread. In the first day ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work. We should get together and commemorate the Feast of Unleavened Bread on the first day. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. 7 days. 7 days we have to eat unleavened bread. Okay? And the 7th day is an holy convocation when we get together again to close out the feast. The 7th day of the first month. And beginning at the 15th, 7 days, which is until Sabbath, the 21st day. That's the 21st day. The Sabbath, when we close out the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Now check this out. Passover is on the 14th day. The 14th day. Good morning, Ak. This is Sis Shana. Hey, sis, what's up? I'm going to see you in a minute, Aqua. Yep. So the 14th day, all praises to the Most High. So the 14th day of the first month, that's Passover. That's Shabbat, right? Then beginning at the 15th day up until the 21st, which is the following Sabbath, that's the closing of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So these two feasts, they both fall on Sabbaths, right? Keep following me. And ye shall eat neither. But ye shall make an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. In the 7th day, we picking up at 8. In the 7th day is an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. That's our feasts. Those are two feasts that we got out the way. Passover, which is in our first month, Nisan, as well as the name Abib. You can go by Nisan or you can go by Abib. And the second Sabbath, which is the 14th day, we got Passover. And then immediately following Passover, at that evening, all the way up until the following Shabbat, the 21st day of the first month, that's the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Those are two of our holy days that we just put behind us, right? Now let's keep reading. Leviticus 23, and I'm going to read about the Feast of Weeks. This is Leviticus 23, 10 through 22. I'm going to read it for you. The Feast of Weeks. Leviticus 10. Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, when ye be come into the land which I give you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest. Now, I will fill you in and jump the gun and let you know. We count 7 Sabbaths from that final Sabbath that closed out the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and that's how we get to the Feast of Weeks, which is the Feast of First Fruits. 7 Sabbaths from the 21st of the first month. Count 7 Saturdays, right? And that'll take us into the Feast of First Fruits, the Feast of Weeks. 7 Saturdays from the 21st of the first month. And that'll land you in the third month. Third month, which is called Sivan. Okay? Sivan is found in Esther 8 and 9, once again. So let's get back to Leviticus, and I'm going to start reading at 10, and I'm going to read through 22. And speak unto the children. This is what we read. This is the first fruits that we're reading about now, our third holy day. Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap a harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest. And he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. Now, all of these fine details go into sacrificing, and specifically what animals that we should sacrifice and the foods that we should eat concerning the first fruits. We follow the law by spirit. So what we do is simply get these days out of here, get these dates. We get together and we have a holy convocation. We follow our law through the Spirit of Christ now, because this was in the Old Testament during the days of sacrifice. So we can't follow the law by letter. So we follow it by spirit. So we dig these dates out of here. And we do as much as we can according to the law. But according to what we can't do, we follow the law by spirit. And we commemorate these dates. We get together and we feast as the family of the Most High, as Israel. But what we don't do is do away with it. So we're in the Feast of First Fruits now. I'm on 12. And ye shall offer that day, when ye wave a sheaf of an he lamb without blemish of the first. You see how you got to take a lamb and kill it? Yeah, we don't do that no more. And the meat offering thereof shall be 2/10 deals of fine flour, mingled with oil, an offering made by fire unto the Lord for a sweet savor. And the drink thereof shall be of wine, and the fourth part of an hin. And ye shall eat neither bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears, until the self same day that ye have brought an offering unto your God. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations and all your dwellings. All right? A statute forever through all your generations. That means don't forget it. Now, I'm going to skip over to 22. Okay? And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of thy field. That means when you reap the harvest of your land, when you bringing in your stuff, don't clear it out. Leave some. The corners of your field, don't clear them out. Let me explain why. Thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of thy field when thou reapest, neither shalt thou gather any gleaning of thy harvest, for thou shalt leave them unto the poor and to the stranger. I am the Lord your God. The Most High God always wants us to take care of the poor and the strangers. Okay? That's the purpose of the first fruits that we just read about. Now, I'm going to go over to Deuteronomy 16, and I'm going to read 9 through 11 right quick, just so we can know when first fruits is. Deuteronomy 16, 9 through 11 reads, 7 weeks shalt thou number unto thee. Begin to number the 7 weeks from such time as thou beginnest to put sickle to the corn. 7 weeks from the feast of unleavened bread. And thou shalt keep the feast of weeks unto the Lord thy God with a tribute of a free will offering of thine hand, which thou shalt give unto the Lord thy God, according to the Lord thy God, according to as the Lord God, thy God has blessed thee. So we count 7 weeks from the last feast. That's what this just told us. All right. I just wanted to read. Hold on. 11. And thou shalt rejoice before the Lord thy God, thou, thy son, and thy daughter, and thy manservant, and thy maidservant, and the Levite that is within thy gates, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow that are among you, in the place which the Lord thy God has chosen to place his name there. And thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in Egypt, and thou shalt observe to do these statutes. That was all about the Feast of First Fruits, the Feast of Weeks that we just read about. All right. So now we got Passover, which we get together, we eat good, we be family, right? Then you got the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which immediately follows Passover. That lasts for a whole week. We don't eat any leavened bread. We get all leavened bread out of our house. We purify our house from yeast. Yeast represents sin inside of bread, and sin, when put to the fire, it inflates. You know, that's what our Lord don't want us to do. When we are put to the fire, we are to be purged and cleansed. That's why we don't eat unleavened bread. That's why we eat unleavened bread. No leaven should be in your house for 7 days. Purification. Then in the 3rd month, the Feast of Weeks, first fruits. Okay? That's what we just went through. So we just went through 3 holy days. Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, Feast of Weeks, aka first fruits. Now let's go to Leviticus 24 and 25 in chapter 23. Leviticus 23, chapter 24. Leviticus chapter 23, verses 24 and 25. What we are about to learn now is the blowing of trumpets. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, now we in the 7th month, in the first day of the month, ye shall have a Sabbath, a holy convocation, a remembrance, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation. We get together, we remember the blowing of the trumpets. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. That's our blowing of trumpets. Let's go into the significance of blowing of trumpets. First off, we're going to go to Exodus 19. We're going to take it back to when we were in the wilderness and we landed ourselves in Mount Sinai, right? 19, Exodus 19, 16 through 20. And we camped about the Mount Sinai. We pitched our tents and we camped. And the Lord himself in a cloud, the Spirit of Christ, the angel of Christ, descended upon us at the top of that mountain. Look how he came. And we commemorating the blowing of trumpets. We're talking about the blowing of trumpets right now. I'm about to read 16 through 20 right quick. Exodus 19, 16 through 20. And it came to pass on the 3rd day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled. And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with God, and they stood at the nether part of the mount. And Mount Sinai was altogether on a smoke, because the Lord descended upon it in fire. And the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly. 19. And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long and waxed louder and louder, Moses spake, and the Most High answered him by a voice. 20. And the Lord came down upon Mount Sinai on the top of the mount, and the Lord called Moses up to the top of the mount, and Moses went up. When the Lord came, he came with the sound of a trumpet. That's blowing of trumpets. That's why we commemorate blowing of trumpets. We understand that the Lord's voice is as the sound of a trumpet. That's when we know the Most High is coming. When we hear that trumpet. Okay? Now, let's get over to Numbers 10 and 9, and I'm going to read it to you. Numbers 10 and 9. Reads, and if ye go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, right, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, and ye shall be remembered before the Lord your God, and ye shall be saved from your enemies. We blow that trumpet, the Most High gonna hear us. He know that's us, and he gonna remember us, and he gonna come save us. When you go to war with your enemies, blow the trumpet. That's what Numbers just told us. And the Lord your God is going to remember you through that trumpet. Let's go to 1 Corinthians. We'll go to 1 Corinthians, and then we're going to go in Revelations right quick. And I'm going to get back to the script. 1 Corinthians 15 and 52. And it reads to us, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. In the moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, the Most High is coming at the sound of a trump. At the last trump, the Most High is coming. So when we start blowing these trumpets and bringing this whole book, this whole prophecy back to life, you better be getting ready for the Most High to come. And we blowing the trumpets now. We commemorating these holidays again. All right. Now let's go over to Revelation. Revelation. 1 and 10 in the beginning of the book of the end. Right? Check this out. I was in the spirit on the Lord's day, the Sabbath, and heard behind me a great voice as of a trumpet, saying, I am the Alpha and Omega, the first and the last. And what thou seest, write in a book and send it unto the 7 churches which are in Asia, unto Ephesus, unto Smyrna, and unto Pergamos, and unto Thyatira, and unto Sardis, and unto Philadelphia, and unto Laodicea. This is Christ giving him his instructions to John the Revelator. And when John the Revelator was in this day, the final day, judgment day, the Lord spoke to him in a trumpet. When the Lord comes, we're going to hear that trumpet. That's how we communicate to the Most High. The trump. And the last trump, when we blow that trump for the last time, He going to come. That's what we just read in Exodus, and what we just read in Numbers, and what we just read in Corinthians. Now we're reading it in the end of the book. That's the importance of blowing of the trumpet, right? We getting ready for the Most High God to come and redeem us. That's the importance of blowing of the trumpets, okay? Let me get back to the script. Leviticus 23. That's the significance of blowing of the trumpets. The Most High is coming when that trumpet get blown. All right. 24 through 25. Speaking to the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month and on the 1st day of the month, ye shall have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of the trumpets, and holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. So blowing of the trumpets, we need to be blowing our trumpet, and we need to be together, and we need to be feasting, right? Okay. So we have been through. Passover. We have been, which is in the 14th day, the 2nd Sabbath of the 1st month, which immediately is followed by Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is the 15th day through the 21st, which is the 3rd Sabbath of the 1st month, which is when it's closed out. When it closes out, that lasts for a week. And then you count 7 Sabbaths from then. Sabbaths. You see why the Sabbaths are so important? We on track by our Sabbaths. And all of these holy days are on the Sabbath, except for this next one that I'm about to mention. But with Feast of Unleavened Bread, 7 Sabbaths from there, the Feast of Weeks, which is first fruits. Okay. And then in the 7th month, you got blowing of trumpets. Okay. Now, what's next? Leviticus 23. I'm going to read 27 through 32. And I'm going to introduce the Day of Atonement. All right. Now, also on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a Day of Atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls, and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. You shall afflict your souls. This is the Day of Atonement, okay? This is 10 days after the blowing of the trumpet. We shall come together for another holy convocation. This is in the 7th month. And we on our 5th holy day, right? We got Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, Feast of Weeks, blowing the trumpets. Now we on Day of Atonement. This is our 5th holy day. You see how much the Most High want us to get together and commemorate Him and have a good time, and do what we're supposed to do in the name of the Most High, though, right? On the 10th day of the 7th month, there shall be a Day of Atonement. It shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls, and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a Day of Atonement. to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God. 29. For whatsoever soul it be that shall be afflicted, that shall not be afflicted in the same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in the same day, the same soul I will destroy from among his people. Ye shall do no manner of work in it, and it shall be a statute forever throughout your judgments and all your dwellings. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at even, from even to even. That's the 10th day, right? Ye shall celebrate your Sabbath. So this is on the 10th day, which will be midweek, but he took this week, he took this day, this particular day, and called it a Sabbath, a day of rest. This is the Day of Atonement. 10 days from the day that trump is blown, right? Let's go into our Strongs and read what atonement means. According to our Strongs, it is the Hebrew word H3722, and it's pronounced kafar. Kafar means cleanse, disannul, forgive, be merciful, pardon, to put off, to reconcile. So, listen. From the time that trump is blown on the first day of the 7th month up until that 10th day, which is the Day of Atonement, which is when you come to your Most High God to atone for your sins, for your transgressions, and for your soul to be cleansed. What our duty and obligation is to reconcile, forgive, be forgiven, seek forgiveness from anybody that has done us wrong or that we have done wrong. Any unresolved issues, it's time to reconcile them and get ready for the Day of Atonement. From the blowing of the trump, which is when you should prepare for the Most High to come, you better be cleansing yourself for the Day of Atonement, which is when the Most High atones with Israel. This is when he forgives us and cleanses us. The Day of Atonement. This is when he reconciles Israel. We can't be holding on to sin. We can't be holding on to grudges. We can't be holding on to nothing that is not of the Most High. We need to be cleansing ourselves from the first day of the 7th month when that trump is blown. We need to be preparing for 10 days later, the Day of Atonement. That is a Sabbath for us. 10 days from that Sabbath, which is going to be on a Saturday, you got 10 days. That'll land you midweek, like Wednesday sometime. That is the special Sabbath. That Sabbath ain't going to be on a Saturday. That is a Sabbath where the Lord cleanses us. And that's the only Sabbath in here that he didn't put on a Saturday, the Sabbath day. It's set apart. The Day of Atonement. Cleanse yourselves. Any issues you got, get rid of them. Nothing is more important than coming to atonement with the Most High God and receiving your forgiveness. And you can't receive forgiveness if you haven't forgiven. That's what that 10 days between that is for. You better be getting in touch with whoever you need to. Coming to amends and reconciliation. That's what our Day of Atonement is about. The 5th holy day, right? Passover, then Feast of Unleavened Bread, then the Feast of Weeks, which is first fruits, and then the blowing of trumpets, right? And then the Day of Atonement, which is when we atone, right? Now, we go into our next feast, which is in Leviticus 23 and 34 through 44. Let me start reading. This is the Feast of Tabernacles, right? This is our 6th holy day. I'm going to start reading at Leviticus, once again, 34, and it reads through 44. And this takes us out of the book of Leviticus. This takes us out of this chapter, which breaks down our schedule that the Most High wants us to keep. This is the Feast of Tabernacles. What this feast commemorates, once again, the Most High bringing us out of Egypt and into the wilderness. We landed in the wilderness of sin in the first month. Then we traveled the second month to the wilderness of Elim. The second month, we traveled to the wilderness of Elim. In the third month, we landed in the wilderness of Sinai. We pitched our tents around the Mount Sinai. And we prepared ourselves and waited for the Most High to come down. Okay? This is what this feast is about. Feast of Tabernacles. It commemorates us dwelling in tents, dwelling in booths. Let me read about it. 34 through 44. Speaking to the children of Israel, saying, on the 15th day of the 7th month, the 10th day, we should be done cleansing ourselves. And we should be ready for the Most High to come down Mount Sinai. See why these Sabbath days are so important? We commemorating our history. Now let's read about it. 34, speaking to the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto the Lord. On the 15th day of the 7th month. Okay. On the first day shall be a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein. Holy convocation. Get together. Get together. And we feast. We commemorate what this day is about. We worship. We read our book. We come to a clear understanding. And we fellowship with the fam. Right? "7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, and on the 8th day shall be an holy convocation." You close it out with a holy convocation as well. "And ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein. These are the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations." These are all the days the Most High wants us to get together and remember him. "To offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering, and a meat offering, a sacrifice, and drink offerings, everything upon his day, beside the Sabbaths of the Lord, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your free will offerings, which ye give unto the Lord." Now, moreover, also, on 39, also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. Okay? "And ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and boughs of thick trees, and willows of the brook. And ye shall rejoice before the Lord your God 7 days. 7 days. We shall be out in the wilderness camping, dwelling in booths, right? 41. "And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in a year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days, tents. Ye shall dwell in tents 7 days." Okay. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths. He don't never want us to get spoiled and soft and not remember the wilderness that he brought us out of originally from the beginning of time. We're supposed to be raising our children up to go camping in the wilderness 7 days out the year. We need to take that time and be Israel. Understand how tough we are. We made to dwell outside in booths. Let me finish reading this. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths, that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. 44. And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feasts of the Lord. These are the feasts of the Lord that the Lord wants us to commemorate. We just went from the beginning of the year, Passover, all the way to the end of the 7th month, which we close out with the Feast of Tabernacles, when we dwell in booths. Okay. Now we got 2 more that we want to get into. And these 2 more are the Feast of Dedication, number 1. I'm going to read about the Feast of Dedication. First, I'm going to go to the original Feast of Dedication. The Feast of Dedication. This is number 7, right? Yep, this is number 7. We got Passover. Then we got the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Then we got the Feast of Weeks, right? First fruits. 7 weeks, 7 Sabbaths from the Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? Then we got the blowing of trumpets to start off the 7th month, right? Then 10 days later, the Lord made that a Sabbath unto himself, the Day of Atonement, which is when he's going to forgive us our sins. We're going to atone, right? So we need to be seeking forgiveness from the blowing of trumpets, that Sabbath, all the way to 10 days later, which is atonement, okay? Then you got Feast of Tabernacles, okay? Now we're about to learn about the Feast of Dedication, okay? I'm going to take you to the original Feast of Dedication, which is when our great King Solomon, the wisest man to ever walk this earth, right? This is when he put the temple together, the temple for the Most High God, right? 2 Chronicles 7, and I'm going to read 1 through 11. 2 Chronicles 7, and I'm going to read 1 through 11. What he did after he put it together was he dedicated it to the Most High God, okay? And this is how the dedication went. And I'm there. 2 Chronicles 7, 1 through 11. This is the dedication of the Most High's temple. Now when Solomon had made an end of praying, and the fire came down from heaven, and consumed the burnt offering and the sacrifices, and the glory of the Lord filled the house. And the priests could not enter into the house of the Lord, because the glory of the Lord had filled the Lord's house. And when all the children of Israel saw how the fire came down, and the glory of the Lord upon the house, they bowed themselves with their faces to the ground upon the pavement, and worshipped and praised the Lord, saying, for he is good, and his mercy endureth forever. 4. Then the king and all the people offered sacrifices before the Lord. 5. And King Solomon offered a sacrifice of 22,000 oxen, and 120,000 sheep. Man, Solomon had us so wealthy. So the king and all the people dedicated the house of the Lord. They dedicated the house of the Lord. And the priests waited on their offices, the Levites, also with instruments of music of the Lord, which David the king had made to praise the Lord. They were singing the songs of King David, because his mercy endureth forever. When David praised by their ministry, And the priest sounded trumpets before them, and all Israel stood. Moreover, Solomon hallowed the middle of the court that was before the house of the Lord, for there he offered burnt offerings and the fat of the peace offerings, because the brazen altar which Solomon had made was not able to receive the burnt offerings and the meat offerings and the fat. 8. Also at that time, Solomon kept the feast 7 days, and all Israel with him, a very great congregation, from entering into Hamath until the river of Egypt. They came from everywhere to dedicate the temple of the Most High God. And at that time, Solomon kept the feast 7 days, and all Israel with him, a very great congregation, from the entering in of Hamath until the river of Egypt. And in the 8th day, they made a solemn assembly, for they kept the dedication of the altar 7 days, and the feast 7 days, feast of dedication. 10. And on the 23rd day of the 7th month, on the 23rd day of the 7th month, he sent the people away into their tents, glad and merry in heart. For the goodness of the Lord has showed unto David and unto Solomon, and to Israel his people. Thus Solomon finished the house of the Lord and the king's house, and all that came into Solomon's heart to make in the house of the Lord and in his own house, he prosperously effected. That's the origin of the Feast of Dedication, right? Our great King Solomon, right? Now, after our great King Solomon had the Feast of Dedication, we walked away over time from our laws, statutes, and judgments and commandments, and we were taken from the land. Now, we're going to go into 2 Maccabees, okay? Let me pull up my Apocrypha. All right, I got my up, and we're in 10, 5 through 8. Once again, at that original Feast of Dedication, when we were taken to our heights over time, we walked away from the ways, statutes, laws, judgments, and commandments of the Most High God, right? We made our way back into Jerusalem. And as we made our way back into Jerusalem, the temple was destroyed and it had to be rebuilt. Upon the temple being rebuilt, the temple was rededicated. This is what we're going to read about in 2 Maccabees 5 through 8. And this is the Feast of Dedication that we keep because we had to rededicate the temple after it was rebuilt, okay? 5 through 8. 2 Maccabees 10, 5 through 8. Now upon the same day that the strangers profaned the temple, on the very same day it was cleansed again, even the 25th day of the same month, which is Caslu. Caslu. Let's go over and find out when it's Caslu. Caslu is our 9th month. So the 25th day of the 9th month, Caslu, that's when we rededicated the temple. Okay? And they kept the 8 days with gladness, as in the Feast of the Tabernacles, remembering that not long ago they had held the Feast of the Tabernacles, when as they wandered in the mountains and dens like beasts. They remember not long ago they wandered in the dens and mountains like beasts. That's what they commemorated as they commemorated the Feast of Tabernacles. So they rededicated the temple, and they did it in the manner of the Feast of Tabernacles. That's what they're telling us. Therefore they bare branches and fair bowls and palms and sang psalms unto him that had given them good success in cleansing his place, the Most High. They ordained also by a common statute and a decree that every year those days should be kept by the whole nation of Jews. There we go. There's our new feast of dedication of the temple. We done with our Apocrypha as well. Okay. Now we have an understanding about the Feast of Dedication, which is our seventh holy day. Okay. We 7 holy days. That's the 9th month that we do the Feast of Dedication. So we feast throughout this month, Passover, immediately followed by the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and then 7 Sabbaths from there, which takes us into the 3rd month, which is the Feast of Weeks, first fruits. Okay. And then we begin the 7th month with the blowing of trumpets. Okay. The first Sabbath of the 7th month, right? 10 days later, a Sabbath unto the Lord, Day of Atonement, right? Okay. And then from the 15th to the 21st, Feast of Tabernacles. That's our 6th, right? And then our 7th, which is in the 9th month, Feast of Dedication, right? 7 holy days. Now we got one more, right? This one is Purim. This is our final feast of the Most High God's year. This is in the 12th month, Adar, that we do Purim. Okay. We can read about Purim in Esther. Let me find Esther so we can learn about Purim, what Purim is about. Purim is a beautiful holy day because you know how in the world's Christmas they give gifts, they pass out gifts, and they commemorate their day with gifts, passing gifts and all that. Well, that's what Purim is about. That's what we do in Purim. Let me get to it. Small book, so it's kind of hard to find. Esther. Come on, Esther. Come on, Esther. There she go. All right. Now we are in Esther, 9th chapter. And we're going to read about Purim. I'm going to read 17 through 28 of the 9th chapter. Okay. On the 14th day of the month of Adar, and on the 14th day of the same, rested they, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. But the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th day thereof. And on the 15th day of the same, they rested, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. Therefore, the Jews of the villages that dwelt in the unwalled towns made the 14th day of the month Adar a day of gladness. The 14th day of the month Adar. The second Shabbat of Adar. The 12th month. Okay. And the 15th day, the same. The 14th and 15th day. That's Purim for us. Let's keep reading. Therefore, the Jews of the villages, where are you picking up at? 19. Therefore, the Jews of the villages that dwelt in the unwalled towns made the 14th day of the month Adar a day of gladness and feasting, and a good day, and of sending portions one to another, sending portions, sending gifts one to another. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces. And the king Ahasuerus, both nigh and far, to establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar and the 15th day the same, yearly. Right? 22. I'm supposed to be reading through. Reading through 28. I'm at 22. As the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another, and gifts to the poor. Sending portions one to another and gifts to the poor. This is the day that we give our gifts, you know. This is what they swag jacked and implemented Christmas about, you know, Christ Mass. You know, they call it the birth of Christ that you're commemorating, but it's called Christ Mass, which is the death of Christ. Give gifts to the poor and to one another, right? 23. And the Jews undertook to do as they had begun, as Mordecai had written unto them. 24. Because Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of all the Jews, had devised against the Jews to destroy them, and had cast that is, the lot, to consume them and to destroy them. So Haman put a plan together. He had a high position in the government of the land, and he put a plan together to destroy all the Jews. Our Queen Esther, she got wind of it from her uncle Mordecai, okay? And she blew the horn to the king, right? And this thing reversed. And Haman, he got hanged, you know, he got punished for trying to destroy the Jews. Now, because the Most High delivered us from this destruction that was supposed to happen to the Jews, this is what we commemorate. This is Purim. This is what we commemorate on the 14th and 15th day of Adar, and we give gifts to each other as a commemoration year by year. Okay? 25, let me get back to the story. But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by letters that his wicked device, which is devised against the Jews, should return upon his own head, and that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows. 26. Wherefore they call these days Purim, after the name of Pur. Therefore, for all the words of this letter, and of which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them. 27. The Jews ordained and took upon them, and upon their seed, and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail, that they would keep these 2 days according to their writing and according to their appointed time every year. 28. And that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation, every family, every province, and every city, and that these days of Purim should not fail from among the Jews, nor the memorial of them perish from their seed. Now we know about Purim, which is our 8th holy day. We got 8 holy days that the Lord wants us to commemorate in his calendar. We got Passover. We got the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We got the Feast of Weeks, which is first fruits. We got the blowing of trumpets. We got atonement. We got the Feast of Tabernacles. We got the Feast of Dedication. And finally, in our last month, which is the 12th month Adar, Purim, which where we give gifts. Once we get to know this calendar, we'll have fun doing it. We'll see how often we get together as a family, celebrate our feasts. And this is in addition to Shabbats, which he also told us are a holy convocation. So we should get together. We should feast. We should commemorate the Most High. And it's also how we stay on the Most High's time. And we understand everything about the Most High that he wants us to understand concerning time. You know? We got 8 holy days. You know? And the Lord don't want us to do nothing but commemorate him and learn about him and the significance of the days. That's it. He don't want us spending no money, buying no new outfits and all that stuff. He just want us to get together, feast, talk about and commemorate him. And that's it. This has been the final study, the final lesson before I go get in this water. Me and my sons are about to be baptized. I'm so excited. All praises to the Most High God. He has brought me so far. Hopefully, I can continue to use my real life to minister to you. Hopefully, we have all been edified. Hopefully, we learned some things today about the Most High God's true time that he wants us to be on, his real calendar, and his real holy days. All praises to the Most High. In Christ's name.